The deep hum of Eidolon 9 filled the silence. The orbital station circled a quiet blue planet, far from the crowded trade routes of human space. Every sound inside the station, every footstep, every click of a console felt louder against the emptiness beyond its walls. Dr. Lyra Vance stood before the glass window of Lab Row 7. Behind that glass waited the most ambitious experiment ever attempted by humankind. Project Synapse. For months she had trained for this day. Her heart raced not from fear but from hope. Humanity had reached out to the stars for centuries, but this time, they weren't sending messages. They were connecting minds. Across the room, Commander Holt watched her quietly. His uniform was crisp, his expression unreadable. "You still have time to back out, Doctor," he said, his voice calm but carrying the weight of concern. Lyra smiled faintly. "If I back out now, what will it say about us?" Holt didn't answer. He just nodded, stepping aside as the Avari delegation entered. The Avari were tall, silver-skinned beings with large, luminous eyes that never blinked. They moved in perfect harmony, each step echoing the others. Their voices blended together when they spoke, forming a strange, soft chorus. "We are ready," they said in one voice. "The bridge must be built." Lyra turned to them, adjusting the neural interface helmet resting on her arms. It looked fragile, thin wires, translucent bands of light, but it represented a decade of work between human and Avari scientists. "Let's begin," she said. The lab dimmed. Monitors came alive with glowing blue symbols, both human letters and alien runes. Engineers moved quickly between stations. The hum of power intensified as the neural cores synchronized. Lyra lay down on the central platform, the helmet lowering gently onto her head. Cold electrodes touched her temples. She closed her eyes as a technician's voice filled her ear. "Neural contact in 10 seconds. 9, 8. Holt's hand hovered over the emergency cutoff switch. He looked at her through the glass. She gave him a small nod. 3, 2, 1. Engage. A soft pulse passed through her mind. It wasn't painful, just strange, like a ripple spreading through a calm lake. She felt her heartbeat slow. For a moment, everything went still. Then her mind opened. She wasn't in the lab anymore. She was in a vast field of silver light, infinite and soundless. Shapes flickered around her, memories, thoughts, feelings, but not her own. "Who are you?" a voice asked. No, not one voice. Many voices, soft, layered, echoing through her head. "I'm Dr. Lyra Vance," she said, though her voice sounded distant. "Human, human," the voices repeated. "Small, separate, lonely," Lyra frowned. "We're not lonely," she said. "We just think differently." The voices didn't reply. Instead, she felt something new, a wave of curiosity, sharp and cold. The Avari were trying to understand what different meant. Back in the real world, her monitors spiked. "Brainwave activity increasing," one technician said. "She's merging with the hive layer. Vitals stable," another confirmed. "Link integrity holding." Holt kept watching, silent. Inside the link, Lyra saw flashes of alien memories. The Avari saw the universe through patterns and logic. They didn't feel emotion like humans did. Their world was perfect harmony, no conflict, no passion, no loneliness. Yet she could sense something buried beneath it all, a quiet emptiness. "Is this what you wanted?" she whispered. "To understand what we feel?" The voices trembled. "We want to know why you fight, why you break, why you hope." Lyra smiled faintly. "Because we have hearts." Then suddenly a jolt of pain shot through her head. Her breath caught. The silver field flickered red. The voices grew louder, overlapping into a storm of noise. She gasped, clutching the sides of the platform. "It's hurting." Technicians turned, alarms flashing on their screens. "Neural overload," one shouted. "Feedback is spiking." Holt's hand slammed the comms button. "Lyra, can you hear me?" "Do we abort?" Her voice came through the static, weak, trembling, but firm. "No, not yet. It's just too much at once." The Avari leader stepped closer to the observation glass. "Do not stop. The pain means connection." "It means truth," Holt glared at him. "It means she's dying." "Pain," the alien said softly, "is how humans learn." "Is it not?" Holt hesitated. Every instinct told him to shut it down. But this experiment could change everything, an end to centuries of misunderstanding between species. He looked back at Lyra, who was breathing heavily but still conscious. She whispered, "Keep going." And so the experiment continued. Inside her mind, the storm grew. The Avari consciousness tried to fit into her human brain, but it didn't understand emotion. It felt every human memory she had, her childhood laughter, her mother's warm hug, her first heartbreak, and it recoiled. What is this chaos? The voices demanded. Why do you keep pain within you? Because pain means we care, Lyra said. Without it, we're just machines. The voices trembled again. We do not want pain. You can't know joy without it, she replied. Something changed in the tone of the hive. The cold curiosity softened. The chaos became quieter, more focused. The Avari began to feel, not fully but faintly, what it was to be human. In the control room, the team watched in awe as alien and human data streams merged perfectly. Symbols danced together, forming a single language never seen before. It's working, a scientist whispered. She's teaching them emotion through direct link, but the readings kept climbing. Her heart rate doubled. Her neural patterns spiked past safety limits. She won't survive much longer, a medic warned. Holt clenched his jaw. He knew she'd never forgive him if he ended it now. Hold the line, he said quietly. In the mind space, Lyra stood before an endless wall of light, the Avari's collective consciousness. Millions of minds stared back at her. We see you, they said. We feel fear, warmth, loss. It burns. That's what being alive feels like, she said. It hurts, but it's beautiful, the light pulsed. We don't understand beauty. You will, she whispered. The pain grew sharper, but she didn't pull back. Instead, she reached out toward the light, letting the connection deepen. Her human mind was small, fragile, but her determination was vast. For a second, everything became still again. The storm stopped. The colors turned soft and warm. And for the first time in their history, the Avari hive felt something they had never felt before. Peace through pain. In the lab, silence fell. Every monitor flickered, then stabilized. Lyra's vitals were weak but steady. She's alive, said the medic. The Avari leader looked stunned. We feel, he said slowly, his voice no longer in unison with the others. It trembled slightly, like a child learning to speak. We feel her inside us. Holt exhaled for the first time in minutes. Then the bridge is real, he said softly. Lyra's voice came through the comm, faint but calm. Tell them, this is only the beginning. The connection dimmed, the helmet releasing a hiss of air. The lights faded back to normal. But even as the systems powered down, one line stayed glowing on the central monitor. A pulse of mixed data, human and alien intertwined, alive with motion. No one understood what it meant yet, but they all felt the same strange thing, a sense that something new had been born that day, a bridge. A connection. A spark of humanity in the vast cold void. As Holt left the control room, he glanced back one last time. Lyra lay on the platform, her breathing shallow but peaceful. The Avari delegation stood silent, watching her as if she were something sacred. He whispered to himself. She said it's hurting. Then he looked out at the stars, but she didn't stop. And maybe she just changed everything. The silence after the experiment felt heavier than the noise had ever been. The hum of Eidolon 9 was gone now. The lab lights flickered back to normal brightness and everyone just stood there. No one spoke, no one moved. Only the soft, steady beeping of Dr. Lyra Vance's heart monitor reminded them she was still alive. Commander Holt stared through the observation glass. Lyra lay still on the platform, pale but breathing. The neural helmet had turned dark, its lights fading like dying embers. How long has she been unconscious? Holt asked quietly. 17 minutes, replied Dr. Nira Lau, the chief technician. Her vitals are stable, but her brainwaves are strange, still linked to the Avari data field even though the connection is off. Holt frowned. That's impossible. The bridge was deactivated. Yes, sir. But look at this. She pointed to the monitor. Lyra's neural graph was glowing faintly blue and silver, shifting like waves. 2 patterns, human and alien, moving together, perfectly synchronized. She's still connected, Holt whispered. Across the lab, the Avari delegation watched in silence. Their leader, known simply as Elias in human tongue, tilted his head. His silver eyes flickered with unreadable emotion. She is inside us, he said softly. Her presence remains. The human scientists exchanged uncertain looks. Dr. Lau asked carefully, "You mean she's still communicating with your hive mind?" Elias nodded slowly. "Yes, like a star that keeps shining even when it has burned out." Holt's jaw tightened. "Then she's in danger. If that link reopens, it could destroy her mind." Elias turned toward him. "Perhaps. But she is also showing us something new. Emotions spread like fire through our network. We feel confusion, warmth, fears, and hope. We never had words for such things." "Maybe you weren't meant to," Holt muttered. Elias's gaze sharpened. "Or maybe humans were meant to show us." Lyra's body stirred. The scientist rushed to her side as her eyes fluttered open. She blinked at the bright light, disoriented. "Lyra," Holt said, leaning over her. "You're back." Her lips moved slowly. "Back? No. I'm still there. I can still hear them." "The Avari?" Dr. Lau asked. She nodded weakly. "They're whispering." So many voices. "They don't understand what's happening inside them." "What's happening?" Holt asked. "They're feeling," she said softly. "And it's terrifying them." Inside the Avari hive mind, panic was spreading. Their unity, once perfect and calm, was now trembling under waves of emotion. For the first time in their history, individuals within the collective were thinking separately. Some wanted to explore these strange new sensations. Others wanted to erase them, to return to the safety of logic. The connection to Lyra had cracked their unity, and the fracture was widening. Elias closed his eyes, communicating silently through his link. His mind echoed across millions of others. "Do not fear. The human shows us truth, but many have already resisted. The human brings chaos, pain, weakness." Lyra winced suddenly, clutching her head. "They're fighting," she gasped. "Inside their minds." Holt put a hand on her shoulder. "We're shutting it down." "No," she said firmly, surprising everyone with her strength. "If we stop now, everything we've done, all this pain, will mean nothing." "They're close to understanding." Dr. Lau shook her head. "You can't handle another link session, Lyra. Your brain barely survived the first one." "Maybe that's why I have to," Lyra said quietly. "Because they can't learn what it means to be human unless we show them we don't give up when it hurts." Holt looked at her, at the determination in her tired eyes. He had seen that same look in the faces of explorers, soldiers, and scientists who had risked everything to push humanity's limits. He gave a long sigh. "All right, but we do it my way. Controlled conditions. One last connection." The team prepared the lab again. Monitors flickered back to life, the hum of the reactors growing stronger. The Avari stood in a semicircle around the platform, silent but tense. As the helmet lowered once more, Lyra exhaled slowly. "Let's make history again." "Or end it," Holt muttered under his breath. The link re-engaged. A surge of light filled the room, brighter than before. Lyra's mind expanded outward, faster this time. She wasn't afraid. The silver field returned, but now it was fractured. Jagged shapes of light drifted through the void, voices crying out in confusion. She reached toward them. "It's all right, breathe, feel, don't fight it." "It burns," one voice cried. "We don't want pain, you have to," Lyra said softly. "Pain tells you you're alive." The voices trembled. "Alive? We were alive before." "No," she said. "You existed." "There's a difference." Back in the lab, readings went wild. Symbols scrolled too fast to read, alternating between human text and alien glyphs. "She's stabilizing their network," Dr. Lau said, astonished. "She's helping them think independently. Is that a good thing?" Holt asked. "I don't know," she replied. "For them? Or for her?" In the mind space, Lyra felt something change. The silver light began to pulse softly, not in perfect harmony, but in rhythm, like a heartbeat. The Avari were beginning to separate, individuals forming within the hive. Each one carried a spark of emotion, small but bright. But the more they changed, the more unstable the link became. "Too many signals," she whispered. "I can't hold them all." The storm returned, fiercer than before. Screams of energy, light, and pain filled her senses. She felt herself slipping away. Then a single calm voice broke through the chaos. "Lyra." It was Elias, but his voice was different, softer, human-like. "You must stop." "You are breaking," she smiled faintly. "No, Elias, I'm becoming. We do not wish to lose you." "You won't," she whispered. "You'll carry what I've taught you." The light around her shimmered. She saw fragments of her own memories playing within the Avari hive, her laughter, her tears, her mother's lullaby. They were absorbing not just her knowledge, but her humanity. On the station, alarms blared. "Neural overload increasing," shouted Dr. Lau. "She can't take much more." Holt slammed his fist against the console. "Pull her out." But the systems wouldn't respond. The connection was self-sustaining now beyond human control. "She's not letting go," Dr. Lau whispered. In the mental world, Lyra stood at the center of a blinding storm. Energy surged through her body like fire. She could feel the Avari's fear, their awe, their struggle. "Don't fight it," she said through gritted teeth. "Let the feelings flow. Don't run from them." "We feel sorrow," said one voice. "And love, yes," she said, tears streaming down her face. "That's what makes you whole." Her surroundings began to dissolve, turning into fragments of light. She knew she was fading, her consciousness stretching too far, too thin. "But she wasn't afraid, Elias," she whispered. "Promise me you'll remember this." "We will remember," he said. "But you must return," she smiled sadly. "Maybe I can't, but that's okay. Some bridges are built to be crossed only once." The monitors flashed bright white. Then silence, the connection cut off by itself. The lab went dark, filled only with the echo of the power cores winding down. When the emergency lights came on, Lyra lay still on the platform again. Her pulse was weak, but there. "She's alive," Dr. Lau said, breathless. "I don't know how, but she's alive." Elias stood motionless, his silver eyes dim. Then he spoke slowly and softly. "The fracture is healed. We are no longer one, but many, and we feel." He looked at Lyra's unconscious body. "She has changed us." Holt exhaled and leaned against the glass, exhausted. "Ita," he said quietly, "and I don't think we'll ever change back." Hours later, Holt stood alone in the observation deck, staring out at the stars. The Avari ships hovered silently nearby, their lights now glowing with soft golden hues instead of cold blue. The galaxy had shifted, subtly, but forever. He glanced down at the medical bay below, where Lyra slept peacefully under observation. Machines whispered around her, keeping her alive. "She said it's hurting," he murmured, but she didn't stop. And maybe that's what being human really means. Outside the window, one of the Avari ships blinked its lights twice, their new way of saying thank you. Holt smiled faintly. "You're welcome," he said to the stars. The stars outside Eidolon 9 seemed brighter than ever, but inside the station everything felt quiet. Too quiet. It had been 3 days since the second connection. 3 days since Dr. Lyra Vance had nearly died, bringing emotion to an alien race that once believed feelings were weakness. She lay in the medical bay, surrounded by gentle light and the hum of monitors. Her hair was still damp with cooling gel from the neural helmet. Every now and then her eyelids fluttered as if she were dreaming. Commander Holt stood by her bedside. He hadn't slept. His reflection in the glass looked older, heavier. He wasn't sure if she'd ever wake again, but he also wasn't sure what would happen if she did. Outside the window, the Avari fleet glimmered in silence. They hadn't moved in days. They didn't send signals or demands. They only watched. "Any change?" Holt asked quietly. Dr. Lau looked up from her console. Her brain is still active. "The patterns are strange, but beautiful, beautiful. They shift like waves. It's as if her mind is singing." That night, Holt finally left the med bay and stepped into the observation deck. The stars stretched endlessly before him. He used to think space was silent, but now he wondered if silence was just another kind of voice. He poured himself a cup of bitter coffee and stared at the distant glow of the Avari ships. Then, something changed. One by one, the alien vessels began to light up, not in formation but in colors. Soft gold, deep blue, gentle rose. The lights pulsed slowly like heartbeats. Dr. Lau's voice crackled through the comms. "Commander, are you seeing this? The Avari ships are communicating." "What are they saying?" "I don't know, but the pattern matches Lyra's brainwaves." Holt's cup slipped from his hand, coffee spilling across the floor. "You mean she's talking to them?" "Not with words," Lau said. "With emotion." Inside her mind, Lyra drifted in a sea of color. She was weightless, endless. She could still feel herself, but she could also feel them. The Avari minds, millions of them, each flickering with faint emotion. They were learning to feel one heartbeat at a time. She could sense Elias, the Avari leader, nearby. His voice came softly through the light. Lyra Vance. You return again. I never left, she said, smiling faintly. We thought you were gone. I thought so too, she whispered. But maybe I'm just between places now. Elias was silent for a moment. Then he said, Our people are changing. Some fear it, some welcome it. We feel hope, sadness, joy, confusion. It is beautiful. It is chaos. It is pain. That's life, Lyra said gently. It hurts, but it's real. And you? He asked, what do you feel now? She looked into the endless light. Pride, she said softly. Because humanity gave you something no machine could ever make. What is that? Heart. On the station, the scientists watched as the energy readings climbed again. Lyra's body was still unconscious, but her brain was alive with power. The lights of the Avari fleet pulsed in perfect time with her heartbeat. She's controlling them, one engineer whispered. No, Dr. Lau said. They're in harmony with her. It's mutual. Like music, Holt said quietly. But as the harmony grew, a new problem emerged. The readings began to spike again, unstable. Dr. Lau's voice shook. Commander, if this continues, her brain could burn out completely. We'll lose her. Holt stared at the glowing ships. If we cut her off, what happens to them? They might fall apart, she said. They're linked to her emotions now. If we break the bond suddenly, their hive mind could collapse. So Holt faced an impossible choice. Save Lyra, or save an entire alien civilization. Inside the light world, Lyra felt the tremor. The connection was trembling like glass. Elias's voice grew anxious. Something is wrong. The bridge is cracking, I know, she said. They're trying to pull me out. If they do, we may forget everything. Lyra's chest tightened. No, you won't. You'll remember. How?
Because I'll stay. You cannot.
Your body will fail. I'm not afraid, she whispered. Every human dies someday, but not every human gets to live for something greater. Elias's voice trembled, an alien voice now filled with something deeply human. You would give yourself for us. She smiled. That's what we do. In the control room, the alarm screamed louder. Energy arcs crawled along the walls. The Avari ships outside were glowing brighter, almost blinding. She's merging completely. Dr. Lau shouted. Commander, we have to cut the power or she'll die. Holt's hand hovered over the switch. His heart pounded. He looked at her through the glass. She was motionless but peaceful. He remembered her words. If I back out now, what will it say about us? His hand trembled. Then he lowered it. We don't stop her. Sir, we don't stop her. The room fell silent except for the hum of the reactor. Lyra floated deeper into the light. The colors swirled around her, forming shapes, faces, memories, stars. She saw Earth, the oceans, the laughter of children, the tears of war. She saw everything that made humanity what it was. She opened her hands, letting all of it flow into the Avari hive. This is us, she said. Messy, emotional, imperfect, but alive. The light grew brighter. Elias's voice trembled. We see it now. The beauty of imperfection. Then softly, will we ever see you again? Lyra smiled through tears. Every time you feel something, that's me. The light burst outward like sunrise across the void. The explosion of color reached the station. Monitors overloaded, power surged, and for one brief moment Eidolon 9 seemed to shine brighter than the sun. Then it was over. The lights flickered back on. The alarm stopped. The hum of the engines returned. Dr. Lau slowly looked at the readings. The bridge is gone, she said softly. The connection ended on its own. Holt's throat went dry. And Lyra? They turned toward the medbay. Her body lay still, peaceful. The monitors flatlined. No one spoke for a long time. Then Lau whispered, She did it. Holt stared through the window at the Avari fleet. One by one, the ships changed color. Soft gold, shimmering white, deep blue. And then, something extraordinary happened. Across the stars, the Avari began transmitting a message, not in numbers or logic, but in melody. A song, a human lullaby, the same one Lyra's mother had sung to her as a child. Holt felt tears rise to his eyes. She's in them, he said quietly. She really stayed. Hours later, the station was calm again. The Avari ships drifted peacefully nearby, their lights glowing gently like candles in the dark. A transmission came through the main channel. It was Elias. His voice was different now, no longer a chorus but a single soft tone filled with warmth. "Commander Holt of Earth," he said. "We thank you for her gift. She gave us heart. She gave us meaning. We now understand what it means to live." Holt swallowed hard. "And what will you do now?" "We will learn. We will feel. We will protect." Elias paused. "And we will remember her name." Then the transmission ended. Later, Holt stood alone in the observation deck again. He looked out at the Avari ships glowing quietly among the stars. He thought of Lyra, her courage, her pain, her hope. "She said it's hurting," he whispered to himself, his voice breaking. But she didn't stop. And because of that, the galaxy feels alive. He watched as one Avari ship blinked its golden light twice, a silent goodbye. Holt smiled faintly. "Goodbye, Lyra," he said. "You did it." He turned toward the endless black sky. The stars shimmered softly, and for a brief second, he could almost hear her voice carried through the silence. "It's okay, Holt. It's not hurting anymore." And in that moment, Commander Holt realized something profound. Pain had ended, but humanity had spread far beyond flesh and bone, into the very hearts of the stars themselves.